I bet you had nights in the past where you slept badly and woke up feeling terrible. But feeling tired isn't the only consequence when we undersleep. There is a lot more happening in our brains during the night. In this video, I want to share with you how sleep impacts our ability to learn, our emotional stability, and how it can influence our desire to eat. And hopefully by the end of the video, you will have learned something new. Let's get started. What would you say if I told you that you can lose weight just by sleeping better? Probably that I don't know what I'm saying, right? Then let's look at the following experiment. Dr. Eve Van Cotter, a professor at the University of Chicago, conducted an interesting experiment. She wanted to test how the lack of sleep was related to the feeling of hunger and in the end if it resulted in more calories eaten. So she split a group of healthy individuals into two groups. The group A was allowed to sleep for 8.5 hours a night, while the group B was only allowed to sleep 4.5 hours each night. Both groups were in a hotel for 4 nights. Each day they were allowed to eat free food and had the same level of physical activity. The team counted how many calories everyone ate. The results confirmed the suspected. The underslept group was eating on average more than 300 calories each day and way more than 1000 calories during the whole experiment. Not happy with the results, Dr. Van Cotter did a sister experiment. The conditions were very similar except that this time, in the last day, the participants were allowed an additional food buffet. They were also allowed to a snack bar filled with cookies, chocolate bars and chips. This buffet had a limited time of 4 hours and the participants ate alone to limit social influence. In the end, sleep-deprived participants, despite eating almost 2000 calories in the buffet, ate more than 330 calories from the minibar compared to the participants who slept well. In just 4 days, the Group B ate more than 1500 additional calories than Group A. 300 calories might not seem a lot to worry about, but if you sum that up over a year, you will notice a huge difference. But what is the reason behind these results? Why does sleep help us eat less? Meet the hormones that control our appetite: leptin and ghrelin. Leptin signals a sense of feeling full. When we have a lot of leptin in our body, we feel full and don't desire to eat. Ghrelin, in contrast, triggers a stronger sensation of hunger. When ghrelin levels increase, so too does our desire to eat. What happens when we sleep less time or less quality is that the levels of leptin decrease, making us feel less full, and on the other side the levels of ghrelin increase, making us feel more desire to eat. The result is the experiment that we saw before. Additionally, by sleeping less, we will have less energy, becoming more and more sedentary and less willing to exercise. To sum up, bad sleep is a perfect recipe for obesity: greater calorie intake, lower calorie expenditure. Imagine that everything you learn during the day is placed in a box. There is only a certain number of learnings you can fit in the box. So, if you learn too many things, you will have to take some of them out. Then, by the end of the day, you go to sleep and your roommate will get the things you learned out of the box and store them in a shelf. She will catalog the things by context and store them in the right place of the shelf. However, some less important things she will throw away. When you wake up, the box is empty and you can learn new things to fill in the box. You can also access your previous learnings from the shelf because they are now organized and cataloged. What I just described is what happens in our brain every day. The box where we put our daily learnings is in our brain and is called hippocampus. It stores what we live and learn throughout the day, but has limited capacity. When we sleep, our brain cleans the hippocampus to give room for new information and saves the most important things in a long memory storage situated in another part of the brain, the cortex. All of this happens when we sleep. But when we don't sleep enough time or have less quality sleep, this process is affected. If your roommate doesn't have enough time to clean and organize your learnings box, you may wake up in the next day still with things in the box. Because of this, you will not have so much room for new learnings in the next day and you will have to get rid of some things. It also means that your roommate didn't have enough time to catalog all the new information, so that information may be forgotten. That's why it is so important to sleep well if you want to be fresh and ready for new learnings in the next day. And is also why sleeping well the day after will help you assimilate and remember your daily learnings. If you want to learn effectively, sleep well before and after. Imagine that we have a mood scale, where 1 is sad, 2 is neutral and 3 is happy. When we sleep well, our emotions flow from 1 to 3. If you fail at something, you feel sad. If you receive good news, you become happy. Most things that happen during the day will change your mood between sad and happy, but you will generally have a stable mood during the whole day. But when we have a terrible night of sleep or several bad nights, something interesting and worrying happens. Our mood scale expands in both extremities. A new limit of sadness is available as well as a new limit of happiness. Basically, we become able of more extreme emotions. So the same events that happened before can now lead us to an extreme emotion instead of a more stable one. This happens because we have a part in our brain called the amygdala that is responsible to generate these emotions. It works like a gas pedal in a car. And of course, there is also a brake pedal, the prefrontal cortex. When we sleep well, the gas and the brake pedals are well connected, allowing the brake to slow down our emotions. However, when we don't sleep well, this connection between the gas and the brake pedal is weaker. And the weaker is this connection, the less effective will be the brake. We will not only feel emotions more intensively, but we will also have quicker mood swings. We can only change smoothly between emotions when the brake is working properly. That is why when we sleep badly, it is so easy to lose our head, because we don't have our brake pedal working as it should. Be aware of that. I hope you learned something today. You might also like my next video of 5 tips to wake up feeling fresh. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.